Here we are, we've arrived at the last video on my channel for 2022. Is it just me, or was this year a really long year? And with that said, I've used a lot of makeup this year, so today I'm gonna be sharing what I think is the best drugstore makeup of 2022. Now I'm doing this video a little bit differently from other YouTubers because I'm not only mentioning drugstore makeup that was released in 2022, because despite when some of these products were actually released, they were my absolute favorites, even more so than some more recent launches. I'm also super excited to announce that this video is a collaboration with another beauty YouTuber that I love, Vianney. Not only is she sharing her top makeup picks of the year over on her channel, but we're actually teaming up to do a double giveaway. One of you is going to win two prizes, one that I put together and one that Vianney put together, and we're also doing another giveaway on Instagram. So I'm gonna have all the details a little bit later in the video. Let's get into my favorite drugstore makeup of the year. Starting out with my favorite face primer, this is probably absolutely no surprise if you've watched any of my videos over the past year, but the e.l.f. Power Grip Primer is elite. Now, if I remember correctly, did this come out this year? I'm really not good at dates. That's why I was really bad at history in school. Either way, this is a relatively recent launch from e.l.f. and it became an instant favorite after I saw how it held onto my makeup all day, all night. It keeps me looking fresh hours and hours and hours after I actually do my makeup. I've used this for music festivals. I've used this for special events like weddings, and it never lets me down. It far exceeds any high-end primer I've ever used. In fact, I do think that this is supposed to be a dupe of the Milk Makeup Hydro Grip Primer, but I've never tried that one. The only downside to this is that it is on the thicker side and it is sticky, so I can kind of tell when I'm wearing this. I've definitely gotten more used to it, but this is not necessarily like a light makeup product. You know what I mean? This is when you have a full face of makeup on, you don't want it to budge, and it does its job. So I don't mind it feeling a little bit heavier on my skin. Now let's talk about my top foundation pick for 2022. Now, this may come as a surprise because there's been one drugstore foundation that I've called my favorite for years and years and years. However, in 2022, to my surprise, there was one that I reached for more, and it was the Catrice True Skin Hydrating Foundation. So in case you don't know, I was referencing the L'Oreal Infallible Fresh Wear Foundation. That was my favorite. I was so loyal to that foundation for so long. But this year, I've really preferred how the Catrice one looks on me. This is $10. In the US, you can't find Catrice in stores anymore, unfortunately. They used to be in Ulta, but now they're only available either on Amazon or on their website. But here's the thing, I've found that this works just as well as the L'Oreal Infallible Fresh Wear Foundation. It gives this beautiful natural finish. It's buildable, it's flexible, it's comfortable on the skin. It's also cruelty-free and vegan, and the shade match is just a little bit better for me right now than the L'Oreal foundations. So the color match was why I originally started to reach for this more often, but then over time I just realized that the performance was just as good and there were so many more pros to using this one. And quickly after that, it definitely became my top recommended budget-friendly foundation. Now, not only is that Catrice foundation awesome, but the Catrice concealer also became my top pick for 2022. This was definitely my most used concealer, not only for actually concealing dark spots and acne, but also for the under eyes. Now, this also came as a surprise because I have raved about the e.l.f. Hydrating Camo Concealer for so long. I always called it the best at the drugstore. And again, technically this is not available at drugstores, so the e.l.f. one is kind of still the best one at the drugstore. But when it comes to my current favorite and what I used the most this year, this concealer definitely takes the cake, because I feel like it has just as much coverage as the e.l.f. Hydrating Camo Concealer and a very similar natural finish, but the consistency is so much thinner and it feels so much more lightweight on the skin. And especially if you are layering it with other makeup, I just find this to blend into my other layers a little bit easier, a little bit more seamlessly. This is also waterproof. It lasts really well and it just looks beautiful with the corresponding foundation. All right, let's talk about brow gel. This is a product that I actively sought out this year, trying to find one that kind of ticks all my boxes. And the one that I landed on as my favorite of 2022 was the Honest Beauty Brow Gel. This is just the right amount of pigmented. It has just the right amount of hold. This is like my Goldilocks brow gel. If you watch me, then you know my common complaint with my eyebrows is that I don't really have an arch. Like my hair just does not grow at the top section of my arch. So when I'm looking for brow gel, I do need something that's tinted enough that I can kind of like spread onto my skin and fill in the blanks, but I also don't want it to be too dark that they start turning into statement brows. And I also need a moderate amount of hold so I can fluff up my brows and they won't fall throughout the day, but they don't turn like plasticky looking. And this hits all of those points on the head. This is such a versatile brow gel that it looks great when I'm doing more of a light no makeup look, but it also fits in and doesn't look underdone when I'm doing more of a full face of makeup like I'm wearing today. So my favorite eyeshadow of 2022, another surprise. I feel like this year I've really changed up a lot of my makeup habits and preferences. I used to be the person who could not use less than 4 shades in any eyeshadow look. I wanted a transition color and a crease color and a lid color and a highlight color and then something else on the lid. But this year I've definitely been wearing more 1, maybe 2 shade eyeshadow looks, and I've been using the e.l.f. No Budge shadow sticks. These are absolutely my most used eyeshadows right now. I love just taking one, like the bronze shade, putting it all over the lid, just blending it out softly. Copper Chic, that's what it's called. This is probably my most used. But I've also been able to create total glam smoky eyes like I did today. I used the shade Rich Amethyst as well as Rose Gold, and I created this halo eye look with 2 eyeshadows. I don't know why we used to make eyeshadow so complicated. Here on YouTube especially, I'm guilty of it. We were all watching the same tutorials and using like 6 or 7 shades on our eye. These alone have streamlined my makeup routine so much because it's really easy when you open up an eyeshadow palette to be like, oh, I want to use this color, and I want to use this color and this color. And it becomes too much. And there's definitely a time or place for that type of application, but on the regular, this is what I've been using. Now, another way that my makeup preference really changed this year, which also affects this next top drugstore makeup pick, is that I don't do a lot of liquid eyeliner anymore. I used to wear a winged liner with almost every single look, and lately I've just been preferring the no liner look like I have on today, or doing a very subtle powder liner with my eyeshadow. So with that said, my most used eyeliner of 2022 is the Essence Extreme Lasting Liner. This has been my go-to pencil liner for a few years now, but mostly I've just been using it for tight lining. This is definitely nothing new for those of you who watch my channel, but I just kind of wanted to point out the reason why I didn't have maybe a more exciting pick for best eyeliner of the years, just because I haven't been using it a lot. Now, my favorite drugstore mascara of 2022 is actually a tie, but they're both from Maybelline. The first one is, of course, the Maybelline Sky High Mascara. Now, I'm someone who loves dramatic lashes. Even if I'm doing like a fresh face, no makeup look, I still want a lot of definition in my lashes. I still want a lot of length because my lashes are short and straight. And the Sky High Mascara is definitely dramatic. It gives me a ton of length, lift, and volume. I love using this when I want a big impact with my lashes, but I do not want to use falsies. But my other most used mascara this year, when I want a little bit more of a lighter look, but I still need my length and lift, the Maybelline Lash Sensational Mascara. This doesn't add as much bulk to my lashes. I feel like it keeps my lashes looking fluttery, but it still adds the definition that I want. It fans out and separates my lashes. I never have any clumps with this. This one just looks a little bit more natural than the Sky High Mascara, and I would consider it a dupe for the Lancome mascara, the Lash Idol mascara. This is probably my favorite high-end mascara because of all of the above. It separates, it makes my lashes really, really long, but fluttery and still natural looking. And I would say that this is the closest you can get to this at the drugstore. So y'all know how much I love the Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer, and I feel like that has definitely come out on top year after year for me. And this year is not really all that different, but it kind of is. Because my favorite and most used drugstore bronzer of the year was the Physicians Formula Bread and Butter Bronzer. This was part of the Bread and Butter collection that they did release in 2022, and this is the shade Baked. Now, this has the same very smooth consistency of the original butter bronzers. It does have its own scent though that I actually kind of prefer. And this shade for me is like my perfect bronzer shade because I can use it to warm up the face, but it's neutral enough that I can also get away with contouring with it. It's also completely matte. Some of the original butter bronzers are more of a satin finish and this is not. So I do prefer that in my bronzer in general, but it does not look dry or dull or cakey on the skin. It was absolutely no contest for my favorite, most used blush of 2022. It was definitely the Morphe Blush Balms. Again, I do think that these came out this year and they quickly became favorites. So these are cream blushes, but they dry down to more of a powdery smooth finish. They are waterproof, they're long lasting, they blend so easily and beautifully. Today I'm wearing the shade Mighty Mauve, but I also love the shade Audacious Apricot for more like spring summer vibes. I love how these wear throughout the day. They never become patchy, they don't really fade. I apply them with a stipple brush. I find that to be the best way to apply cream blush in general, to get a very nice even layer, and you can apply your cream blush without messing up your foundation or any other layers underneath that way. And these have held up even in humid, sweaty climates in the summer. And I know people in the comments keep getting on me for calling Morphe a drugstore brand, but first of all, they have products in Target, like not even the Ulta section, like in the Target beauty section. Plus, their prices are cheaper than a lot of drugstore brands right now. So due to their accessibility and their price point, I consider them drugstore. Let's take a quick break because I cannot wait another second to share these giveaway details with you. Vianney and I put together this double giveaway. One of you will win both of our prizes. Here's what's in mine. To enter this giveaway, you'll have to be subscribed to both of us and like and comment on both of our Makeup of the Year videos, which is the one you're watching right now. For logistical reasons, this is a US only giveaway, 18 and over, and will be open through January 14th. After that, the winner will be announced and tagged in a community post. That is the only way the winner will be notified, so be sure to have your YouTube notifications turned on. To see what's in Vianney's prize, you'll have to go and watch her video. We're also doing a separate giveaway with 2 more prizes over on Instagram. Feel free to enter both. All the links and details will be in the description. Good luck to everyone who enters. Now back to my favorite makeup of 2022. In 2022, I definitely leaned into the dewy makeup trend. I used to shy away from it. I used to be super intimidated by it because I didn't really know how to achieve it on my combo skin. But I finally figured out a routine that works for me and it looks glowy, not greasy, and I do have a video about it on my channel. I will link that below. And in that video, I use what I now consider to be the best drugstore highlight of 2022, and that is the Milani Supercharged Cheek and Lip Multi-Stick in the shade Power Highlight. So this is a really interesting product because it has like a slick consistency and it gives you this very dewy, almost wet looking highlight, but there is also some pigment to it. There's like this champagne shimmer that's very, very subtle. So the highlight's not really coming from the shimmer in this product because there's really not that much. It's really just coming from the finish of the product. It almost looks like it's not makeup. It almost looks like it's just your skin being super, super hydrated, which I love. Now, this is the type of product that's going to stay feeling slightly unset on the skin because it has this kind of wet appearance. If you tap at it, you can kind of minimize that a little bit, but I really would not suggest powdering over it because you're really gonna lose a lot of what this highlight does best. And also I have found because of the consistency of this highlight, when you powder over it, it becomes like a weird line. Like the powder just ends up sticking to the highlight where everywhere else it's blended out nicely. So when you use this highlight, definitely pair it with a setting spray to set your look. But in general, I just feel like my skin looks so beautiful when I wear this. The best drugstore lipstick of 2022 is a new release. I believe it came out like mid-year and it quickly became my new favorite liquid lipstick ever. The Maybelline Superstay Vinyl Ink Liquid Lipsticks blew every other drugstore liquid lipstick out of the water, including the Superstay matte inks. The concept with the vinyl inks is that this is a glossy or shiny lipstick that lasts just as long as a matte liquid lipstick. I did test these on my channel. I also compared them to the Urban Decay Vice Lip Bonds. I have deduced that they're pretty much the same product. But at a time where I thought that I really swore off of liquid lipstick, I'd really been using more bullet lipsticks and lip glosses. These sucked me right back in. Not only do I love the more shiny finish because flat matte lips are kind of on their way out, but they last just as long as the matte ink liquid lipsticks, and in my opinion, better and more comfortably. I will say though, in my original test video, I did not find their claim to be transfer proof true. I ended up with a little bit of product on my chin after eating and it transferred onto like straws and such. But I realized that with these, you really need to wipe off the excess. And every time I hear someone complaining about this formula being sticky or thick or not setting, I'm like, you need to wipe it off because this applicator holds so much product. You'll be so surprised when you start kind of wiping it against the side. Even when you think you've wiped all of it off, there is still going to be enough on this wand to give you full coverage color. And that very, very thin, even layer is what's going to actually set to be super long lasting and transfer proof. These look great even after eating. I don't really feel like I need to touch up, but if for some reason I do want to add just like a little bit more, especially like on the inner portion of my lips, they layer very easily. That's another thing with the matte ink liquid lipsticks. I felt like they ended up looking weird and textured if you tried to do multiple layers throughout the day. Today I'm using the shade Cheeky. Another one that I wear all the time is Lippy. These are absolutely the best drugstore lipsticks of 2022, what I've been reaching for the most since they came out. In fact, they might just be the best drugstore lipsticks, period, right now. So that was my favorite drugstore makeup of 2022. I would love to know in the comments if we shared any favorites or if there was another drugstore makeup product that you absolutely fell in love with this year. Tell me in the comments below. Today's shout out goes to Shannon. Thanks for being a member of the Slashed Squad. And don't forget to check out Vianney's video where she shares her top makeup favorites of 2022. While you're here, subscribe, like, and comment on this video, and all of the details for our double giveaway will be in the description below. Good luck, and I'll see you next year. Bye!